Just a preface before this video gets started, it's 30 degrees outside in the UK, and as the UK's houses are built to keep heat in, not out, which is made even worse by the fact I have a snake which is pumping out a lot of heat for its heat lamp. The reason I'm saying this is if I sound exhausted or a bit out of it at any point, I do apologise. Maris, Fathom of Night is a mixed bag. Say what you will about the actual boss fight, the design and the lore is superb. It links into the oracles, it links into bubbles, ancient dynasties, sleep, the cosmos, divinity, the Elden Beast, spirits, and so much more. A small percentage of the people that watch these videos are actually subscribed. If and only if you do enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe as it greatly helps the channel. If you don't enjoy, drop a dislike. Constructive criticism is really welcomed. Please friends, sit back, relax, grab some succulent, juicy, tender and sensational prawns if you want, and enjoy. The Elden Beast and Maris are the exact same thing. If you look at the two, they closely resemble each other. The outer jelly bit that is on Maris is also seen on the Elden Beast. Inside the Elden Beast there are these nerve-like structures. There is also this same thing protruding out of Maris. The final nail in the coffin is the fact that they both have the same eye, something that is not seen on anything else inside of Elden Ring. The Elden Beast hails from the stars. It crashed in a golden star upon the lands between. If you look at the backdrop for Maris' boss fight, you'll notice the cosmos. This can also actually be seen in the backdrop for the Elden Beast boss fight, something that is not seen anywhere else inside of Elden Ring. All the other Night Lords have very different backgrounds, but none of them have the cosmos, not like Maris. Bosses that are from the cosmos tend to have this sort of ocean-like arena. We see this with Matia, we see this with the Elden Beast, and now we also see this with Maris. It directly says on the expedition that it makes oceans of its surroundings. The connection between these two characters, I believe, is solid as concrete. The question we've got to ask now, though, is what does this mean for the lore? What does this imply, and how does it affect everything we know about Maris? The expedition states that it's an unknown entity that drifts through the skies, that it may blend with whatever life is found, as if in a dream. At first glance it seems metaphorical, this mention of dreams, and yet in the relic it says for the first time in its existence the drifting ancient being realised its interest had been piqued, indeed it had been roused from its aimless life of floating. Dream and being roused is something that keeps popping up. The connection is solidified when you realise inside the boss fight you can be afflicted by sleep. Almost every single power inside of Elden Ring has some sort of god or outer god or being associated with it, and yet we never get one for sleep. Saint Trina exists and her powers are extremely unique, but there is no sort of origin for it that we are told about. That is of course until now. Long ago there was to be a dynasty, and within it lied the Claymen and the Oracle Envoys. Their powers were extremely unique. The Oracle Envoys were able to predict the future, and wherever they were, a new god or a new age was to appear. The Claymen searched after these oracles in order to serve their dynasty. But that dynasty is long since past. One of the only remnants of this dynasty is the bubbles. The very same bubbles which can be seen inside of Maris' boss arena, not to mention having the very same tint. Hell, the whole of Maris and all of her creatures she summons are all the same. They are all that same tint. Just like how Matia was stringing along the Golden Order, I believe a similar role was played by Maris. Considering the similarity to the Elden Beast, considering all the powers which are widely unique, I definitely believe that Maris is another daughter of the Greater Will. How she got to this plane of existence, how she was birthed, is completely unknown, but I think there's enough evidence to suggest that they are one in the same. But I do believe she was in fact a big part of this dynasty we know nothing about. It would also explain why she's in this deep slumber, for if this dynasty has fell, there's a likely chance that something put her to slumber, that something sent her to sleep, whether that was by her own actions or someone else's. Maris is the only boss, apart from Hollister, which uses sleep, and the reason Hollister has it is because he's the Night Lord. He uses all the abilities of the previous Night Lords. so it makes sense why he has it, when no one else in the whole of Elden Ring, well, bosses wise, uses it. This leads to an interesting thought of how Saint Trina came across the power of sleep. If sleep, the Oracle Envoys and the Bubbles and the Claymen were all linked in this ancient dynasty, how did it come to be? How did it fall? And how did that knowledge get rediscovered? It's a really interesting part in the lore, but sadly we're probably not going to ever get any answers towards this, as it's a really niche part of the lore. The beings that pop up inside of this boss fight are actually seen throughout Elden Ring. The jellyfishes are very similar to the jellyfishes we see as spirits in the Mountaintop of the Giants and Rodrika's crew. The tentacle things that pop up out the ground and look really similar to those things you see in front of car cleaning places, they are also seen in the DLC, except they've got faces. These are entities, spirits that have popped up, but we've never really had a place to place them with. We've always placed them in their own individual groups because they're so different to the other spirits we see. But I think Maris changes this. I believe in some way she is responsible for this. Most likely, some remnants of this ancient dynasty still linger around, and that ancient power was what allowed these spirits to take on this form. Though that is my own little theory, considering we don't actually have that much information, but that makes the most sense to me. An interesting point that needs to be mentioned is that Maris is said to merge with her surroundings. This is an ability that we see from the shaman. The shaman was sort of treated as a divinity by the Hauntant. The fact the Divine Gate is made up of so many shaman and seems to be binding it all together suggests that they do have some intrinsic link to the divinity. Not to mention that all of the Empyreans, all of those that become gods, are also shaman. This link to the divinity is further solidified by the fact that Maris is also able to do this, also able to merge. All the evidence suggests that the shaman, the Newman, the Nox, that they are all divinity, that they are descended from some god. We see Matia called the Dazzling Daughter. That suggests that outer gods can in some way reproduce. I believe some sort of reproduction occurred between a human and a god. This idea expertly links with the next part of the video, and it's the links to H.P. Lovecraft. There is a lot of inspiration to H.P. Lovecraft in FromSoftware's games. A key point inside of his work is the impregnation of humans from gods, which produce special children. This is seen in many of his novels, and I believe a similar thing occurred with the shaman. Interestingly enough, this isn't the only connection to H.P. Lovecraft inside of Maris. Inside of his work, there is a god called Azathoth. Azathoth is the blind idiot god, and he's put to sleep by his court to subdue the havoc that he will cause unintentionally. He is the most powerful being inside of H.P. Lovecraft's world. Although it is not one-to-one, I find a heavy similarity between Maris and Azathoth. Both are children of the cosmos, both are most likely gods, and both are associated with sleep and are put to sleep. The very fact that it was roused suggests it was asleep. Yet most likely, instead of Azathoth's point of view of being forced to sleep, I believe Maris did it of their own volition, that they chose to fall asleep into the endless currents of the cosmos. Both inside of Elden Ring and inside of H.P. Lovecraft's work, the work of the outer gods, of the gods, the great ones, are very mysterious. But I definitely think there is a connection to be made between Azathoth and with Maris. Perhaps Maris and her powers are what led to the downfall of the dynasty, and in defiance of what defeated and destroyed her civilization, she sent herself to sleep. It's kind of poetic. The last H.P. Lovecraft reference comes in the final bit of the expedition, where it says the enemy may not always be that which can be seen. This is not something that is anything to do with the boss fight. There are no attacks which are invisible, meaning that whatever it's talking about is talking about the lore. There is a big theme inside of H.P. Lovecraft's work of things that we shouldn't understand. We can't see it because our mind can't comprehend it. I believe that is the reference it is making to Maris, and it makes a hell of a lot of sense. Inside of Fulgor's expedition, it says the mighty radiant gods were able to conceal themselves in the roar of thunder. Considering Fulgor is able to be harmed by lightning, we can kind of infer that although the gods hid in the roar of thunder, they were still weak to it. And that could be seen with Augar, with Maris, for if you actually look, they are weak to lightning. The lore inside of Nightreign is absolutely incredible, and this is a prime example of it. I really hope you did enjoy this video. I really enjoyed making it because I love this boss. It's got its flaws, but it definitely is a really cool boss. I'm not going to ramble on any more as I seem to do that all the time. Please friends, if you did enjoy, consider leaving a like and subscribe as it greatly helps the channel. And yeah, don't you dare go hollow friends, and may you find your worth in the waking world. See you in the next one, and goodbye.